5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
On the edge of the box is Madden. Madden trying to manufacture the shot, gets it away, it's there! Oh my word! What a goal from Paddy Madden! The Irishman strikes again! And is that the goal that's going to send Stockport County back into the Football League?
Hello and welcome to the Scarf Bagara War, your weekly, unadulterated, unfiltered helping of county news, views and opinions. Not just all of the above, I hasten to add, but also part of the TalkSport fan network and a finalist in the North West Football Awards. Oh, never going to win. Not while the Lad Bible are shitting out podcasts for Man City. I give up. No Russ tonight, unfortunately, so you will be joined by me, Jonathan the Geordie Hatter. Hello, mate. You all right?
Hello. Great to be here.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, I've got to say good stuff. It's the law when Russ isn't here.
You've got to say that. I've got a shirt on that I realised was kind of Russ style. I was about to change my shirt and I thought this is the kind of thing Russ would wear. It's kind of slightly mod, you know what I mean, with a collar. So I left that on.
If we've learned anything, it's that people have to dress like Russ when they replace him on air. So I'm sure you'll be delighted with that.
Yeah.
And also tonight we are joined by Yellowboard's chief polyester molester. That rhymes. That's good. I'm happy with that.
I'll take that.
It is, of course, Ben Walker. How you doing, man?
Very well. Thank you for having me yet again. Who'd have thought there'd be such a market for it?
I know. You know, we are rivaling all those other county-based podcasts. So you know, we have to step it up now. We've seen them all off. Our misplaced tedium just put them off the idea, I think.
Bored them into submission.
Yeah, and talking of boring us into submission, we will get on to the Grimsby and Shrewsbury games very soon. But first, we are going to be joined by Will Moorcroft, who works with Salford City in their media. He's there Liam Richardson, and I'd imagine he probably also gets mixed up with the local journalists on a regular basis. So we'll play the little transition thing, and then we'll bring Will out for a chat about Saturday's game. Well, how are we doing, mate? You all right?
Good evening. You okay?
Yeah, not bad. So, facing off of the two pre-season title favourites this weekend. How's it been going for you lads so far?
I feel we've had that tag all October, to be honest. We've had Bradford, we've had Northampton, you guys. We've got Orient coming up later on. So, you know, we've got a really good run of games at the moment. Just where I think one word sums up at the minute, maybe a bit inconsistent. We're not stringing two results together. You know, we go and get a great result away at Northampton, and then, you know, last weekend we flunked it against Bradford. You know, they came with a game plan, executed it, and left with 3 points. So, you know, if you're going to play us, come and play us at home at the moment, because that seems to be a little bit where we're struggling, I think, fair to say.
Famous last words there, because you've not managed to get any proper consistency going. We can't be consistent for 90 minutes yet. It's a real issue for us, isn't it?
Yeah, it goes between games, doesn't it? You know, managers go on about it all the time. Your periods of dominance, your periods of non-dominance. And we've had that within games as well. It just seems like whenever we do make that one mistake or something, we get punished for it. And, you know, when teams come to us, that's the slight chink that they need to take advantage, and they sit out from there. So it's frustrating. It's not through want of trying that. Yeah, I think we're struggling a bit at home. At the end of the day, you've got to do what you've got to do to win a game of football. But we've got to find something else in response to that, because it's not quite going for us at the minute there.
I wouldn't worry too much because
sorry, Ben, go on.
I wouldn't worry too much, Will, because we're struggling away and at home, and are consistently not very good. Well, certainly not for any length of time. So, yeah, I wouldn't think you have too much of a tough assignment on Saturday, to be honest.
But Manchester Messi's coming. He always categorically has a good game against us. You know, whether it is back for Woodley Sports back in 08, 09 or whatever, or, you know, Bolton, Plymouth, he'll pull something out of the hat.
We will see. Yeah. Well, yeah, to be honest, he's due to pull something out of the hat.
We've been waiting all season.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. So, yeah, looking forward to that.
It's not even a case of digging out individuals at the moment, is it? Because everyone's been absolutely below par for us this season. Like, even the new signings, I think, have shown glimpses, but no one's even been on like a 7 out of 10 since the start of the season. I don't think everyone's dipped, haven't they, for us?
Yeah, it's like you say, Nick, we're kind of put 90 minutes together. I was thinking when you were talking, Will, we need to get a caption on saying Will Salford City fan, because pretty much everything you said could have been about County. You know, it's like pure at home, better away, win away 1 week. You know, then the away team comes with a game plan the next week and does one on away.
You know what, though, it's
great.
very League Two.
And that's County, except with the addition that I feel like it's that thing with County. We'll put in a decent 45, maybe even the 60 sometimes, but other than the Bradford game week before last, I still think of a decent cool 90 that we'll put together. That's how I feel about County.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to preach about what the Football League's about, because, you know, you guys have got just so much more history than we do in it. You know, I'm not afraid to admit or to say that, but, you know, what we have seen in the last 4 years is that is what League Two is about. You know, you can't predict it, you can't guess. Someone can be banging form, you know, historical records and stuff like that come into play. So it just makes it so interesting as well, in that, yeah, you could be really inconsistent, both teams, and then suddenly, you know, both teams could turn up and you have an amazing game, or, you know, we could be here next week saying, that was a bit rubbish, wasn't it, after all the build-up and the hype. So it's very like that. You know, Leyton Orient so far, I feel they've bucked the trend. Their consistency in Stevenage and Carlisle are getting up there. But it's just a case of when it comes. You know, when that first season we had up, we were a bit like you in the first 15 games or so. Just couldn't get going. We had a lot of draws, a few defeats in there and not many wins. And then all of a sudden, it was probably about this time, early November as well, things just started to happen. We got January, and then we had a really good run. And, you know, were it not for COVID, I think we'd have actually finished in the playoffs with the way that we were going that season. So, you know, there's still plenty of time at this point to get things turned around, and it's just about where you can pick the wins up. You know, I thought Bradford for you guys would have been a starting point, watching on from distance.
I think what's really frustrating is we haven't. For me, I missed Crawley and Northampton away. I've not been to the Papa John's games, but we haven't played anyone who's any good. Barrow, I'll say that Barrow were really good opening half hour, but it's difficult to say if they were really, really good or we were poor. Probably a bit of both. But other than that, Stevenage beat us, but we were a goal up until the 88th minute. We had a man sent off and conceded a penalty, and we lost it in injury time. I've not seen anyone who you think, yeah, do you know what, they're really good. Stevenage are right up there, but I'd play them again tomorrow and fancy us, or certainly wouldn't be scared of playing them. I thought Grimsby had periods where they looked quite direct and fast and everything that we thought we were about at the start of the season, but there's not been anyone at all who have torn us apart and you think, yeah, they're well better than us. And most of it, to be honest, has been us shooting ourselves in the foot, or us not. It's probably a bit disrespectful to the club saying that we've let them win, but we just haven't really been anywhere near what we know what we can be. And that's the frustrating thing about it, because with probably not too much more improvement in performances, we could be a lot higher in the table.
I agree with that, Ben, because, you know, I was just looking where you were making that point at the league table. You know, the top 12 of the league table, I'm going to say we'll probably played about 8 or 9 of them, but have they blown us away? No, it's been tight margins, and for all that, it seems to have become a little bit of a recurring theme from our manager, Dave Challoner, doesn't it? It's tight margins, and maybe we'll get a bit frustrated with that. Well, we need to start turning them in our favour, but it is really a fact of life, isn't it, in this league? And I suppose that then what comes from it is that, the other thing I think you're right, Ben, is that absolutely we are shooting ourselves in the foot. I mean, 0-0 against Grimsby, you might not have seen this yet, Will, on Saturday afternoon. Well, in the game, it's even, you know. and then we passed the ball to them 20 yards out. Was it the goalkeeper gives it away, and we're 1-0 down, and from then and then there's another mistake that concedes a second one. So we're then just back to the wall, aren't we?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. That I'm not saying that we've been unlucky, because we haven't. We just haven't been very good. And the other thing is just the number of red cards. That it's pathetic. The number of them. It's embarrassing. It's pathetic. It's not what we want from a team. And I hope if anyone from the club or the team kind of listens to this or watches it, then get a flipping grip of it, because it's pathetic and it is costing us, and it needs sorting. Because you look at
what's been the legitimacy of them? Are they?
Say again.
Have they been like 50-50 reds, or are they just blatant silly? Because we found that there's been a lot of really silly ones this season. Watching games.
Akil Wright got 2 yellows at Northampton, which he could not have got yellows for. And you 2 yellows you can kind of excuse those ones. But Paddy Madden, captain, leader, he got sent off for what? Was he stamping or kicking out with someone?
Wasn't it?
Callum Camps, the tackle at the weekend. I mean, it was kind of a heat of the moment. He's not a malicious player, but he was closer to the lad's waist than he was his feet. I don't even know if I've had sent off this season. I think we're on 5 in 12 games.
Palmer later against Stephen.
It's costing us. And you look back to last season in the running, we'd won 21 out of 22 games in all competitions. Outrageous run, which is what won us the league. Then we had Sarcevic sent off, and then we 1-0 up. Sarcevic sent off, we go and lose the game. Next game, Collar sent off, we go and lose the game. So we had 7 games in the running without 2 of our midfield 3, and it could have cost us. We got away with it. And this season, we're playing nearly a half, certainly a third of our games with a man less, and then not being able to pick our first 11 in the subsequent games because of suspensions. It needs sorting. Whatever is going on there, that needs addressing. That is one of the number one things we need to sort out. It's pathetic.
That's what you probably won't like to hear. Go on.
Well, I feel like in terms of that, I think there's different views as well among the county fan base of like why they're happening. And I think one view is, well, just individual players have been indisciplined too many times, and I think there may well be something in that. But I'm starting to feel like the pattern is that because we're not in control of games, we're chasing games. Because players maybe are sometimes not used to the kind of players and formation around them as well. So basic players kind of aren't settled on the pitch, and so the one on Saturday was a great example of that for me. We're trying to get back into the game. Everything's like a little bit desperate, and a really good player and not a dirty player, Callum Camps, dives into a challenge that's 80-20 against that he's got no right to even go for that ball. You know what I mean? And it's the sort of thing that maybe we also were getting away with. I mean, Ben mentions the sendings off the back end of last season, but until the back end of last season, we were getting away with this really high intensity game, just kind of every time we lose the ball, just battle back to get it, Whereas in this league, I think the opposition are a bit more canny. You can't just dive in, So I think there's something. I suppose what I'm saying is I don't think it's just down to individuals making mistakes. I think there's something about the style and intensity of play that we seem to be trying to operate, and the changes that are going on as well, which I don't think are helping. I just don't think they're helping.
Sorry, Will, we've totally hijacked your segment here, mate.
Yes, sorry, Will.
I enjoyed the debate. Yeah. I was going to say before, I think we've had 3 or maybe 4 players against us sent off in games so far this season, and it's just interesting what you're saying about players being canny, because I won't say for a minute that any of our lads are trying to get a player sent off, but because the movement's so quick and just those little bits, it's like you draw the challenge in and then they move out of the way, and certain players get sucked into that. And when it happened against Swindon, I mean, Harry McCurdy, I think we all know he's a bit of a hothead. I don't know if you guys have come across him much, and he was gone for similar sort of thing early on, and we actually struggled. But from there, we sort of learned the lesson about being persistent and going up against 10 men. So Saturday, it sounds really silly to say, but it will be pretty key that you do avoid going down to 10, because we've almost got a little bit used to playing against 10 sometimes, which is now a little bit more in our favour than it has been before, because we've actually struggled against 10, believe it or not, in the last 4 or 5 years or so. So No,
Nice.
that's something that needs
Goes well for us then. What's the general mood like at your place now then? Obviously being pre-season favourites and everything, is there actually expectation amongst the fans that this can be the season where you do it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of optimism. Woody Neilwood's brought with him this style that is very free-flowing. It's very nice to watch football. It's very possession-based. It's very dominating games. And, the first 7, 8, 9 games, we were creating chances for fun. There weren't as many games that are tight. And we've been sussed out a little bit, maybe in the last 4 weeks. Games have been a lot tighter as people work it out. So we're going through that stage at the moment where we're recycling. And I think after Bradford last weekend, a few fans were starting to think a little bit, well, are we trying to do too much? Do we need to be a bit more horrible, a bit more direct, a bit more get at them? Because I thought, Bradford, to their credit, they played the game extremely well. So there are a few signs of that starting to creep through. But I think overall, people are optimistic, looking forward to where we could end up this season. As for the weekends, where I think everyone's just absolutely buzzing for it, really looking forward to what will hopefully be, a good game. I don't know if you guys do call it a derby, but I know that, from our side, a lot of fans do, and, they are looking forward to it. So
how many will be there?
Should be a good one. I'm hoping that we can top 4K. I mean, County sold out. It was 3-9 against Bradford last weekend, so I should hope it's 3-5 to 4 because
is that a sellout?
It is a great occasion.
Is that a sellout?
5,000 sellout, or just over. I think we've only officially had that once, and that was against Leeds in the Carabao Cup, the first season that we came up. But it's one of those, it doesn't need to be sold out to look full. Sold out is when people are in the terrace literally like this next to each other. But a decent crowd, you've got a bit of space about you, it'll look good. I thought Bradford did, and the crowds have been getting better again. I think that comes down to the style of play as well. People are quick to want to come and watch and see what's going on. So if that can get going, it should be a good game Saturday.
Excellent. And before we let you go, then we can't let you go without asking for your prediction. How do you think it's going to end up on Saturday?
I mean, we've been struggling for goals a little bit as well. Like I said, chance to have dried up a little bit, and I think it just purely depends how County want to come and play. If you want to come and give us a game, try and play, then we could get a 3-2, a 4-3, something pretty high scoring. But if County come, you're happy to sit in, then it could be a 1-0 or 1-1. I think I'm going to go 1-1 just because there's going to be quite a bit of emotion behind the game. There will be a couple of mistakes to be had, which might cost us, but then I think we will find something to keep something from it. So, yeah, 1-1, I think.
That'd be consistent with your last few, wouldn't it, Will? So
yeah.
You won 1-0, lost 1-0, do 1-1. So that's why.
Yeah.
I can see where you're going there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't usually do predictions, so yeah.
Yeah.
For my penny's worth.
Too much like forced fun for me. That none of it. See, this is the stuff Russ leaves on the checklist when he's not. He's like, okay, get some predictions done, Nick. It's fun. Like, oh god.
Yeah, right, well, Russ gave me a 1-1 as well for our program. So
it sounds about right. Yeah. I'll take that now. To be quite honest with you, after Grimsby. All right, Will, thank you so much for joining us, pal. Much appreciated.
No, thanks for having us on.
Lovely stuff. Speak soon,
see you
mate.
Saturday.
See you, Will.
Bye.
Wrong button there.
I'm glad we haven't got to talk about the academy. I'm not sure how much I've got right now on the academy at short notice there. Yeah.
Oh God! So thank you to everyone tuning in. John Billsby's there, Ian Dowden, Gazendo, Philip Lloyd. Don't forget to like and do all the stuff that Russ says every week, because apparently it makes a difference. Doesn't to my life, but apparently it does to his, which is the main thing. Also, admin. Well, I am here. County Ladies bidding to win an FA Cup match for the first ever time, and it's free entry for their game this weekend as they look to get that first FA Cup win. So one for when obviously we're away on Saturday. So nice bit of soccer action. I should really have looked when it was, but we'll tweet that anyway. It'll be on social media, and you can see when it is, because I probably should have done some research on that. Right, we are on to Saturday, which was Grimsby. Who's going to go first and shoulder this horrible burden of the Grimsby game?
Go on, Ben.
Do you want me to go? I thought they were quite good, Grimsby. As I said earlier, that I think they were not everything, because they weren't good for 90 minutes. They showed flashes of what I hoped we would be this season, which was moving the ball quickly, getting forward, not afraid to kind of, I know I'm talking like really simplistic things here, but like not afraid to kind of get involved and make things happen and chase the ball down and really kind of push us and harry us into making mistakes, which is what happened with Johnson with the first goal. They weren't at it for 90 minutes, but they were better than us. I think credit to them. I think the fans were good as well. They outsung us. They always make a lot of noise. It was a good. I enjoyed the afternoon. As sad as it sounds, I kind of almost wish kind of we were doing what they're doing now. They're playing a lot better than us. They're much higher up the table. The fans are having a lot more fun. I think we'll get better, but at this moment, Saturday was just another chastening afternoon in top Sky Bet League 2, where we're not quite at it, are we? But I'm not someone who subscribed to this thing that we were going to piss the league and be up by Easter. I thought if we could get in the playoffs, that'd be incredible achievement. But you look where we are now, that we're already like 20 odd points off the top. We're already about 6 points off the top half of the table. We're way off the pace. And you think even if we win like the next 3 in a row, we could still be in the bottom half of the table. That's how poor the start of the season's been. Not a back-to-back wins yet. Not a back-to-back wins the Football League since February 2009. So looking forward to that happening.
What shirts were we wearing at the time, Ben? That's all we need to know.
That's exactly the games it was. It was Carlisle and then Cheltenham at home on the Tuesday night when Ollie Johnson scored. Back end of 08-09 in Jim Gannon's first spell. That's how long ago it was. The last time. I know we've been out of the Football League for 11 years, so it's a bit invalid. But yeah, we've not won back-to-back games in the Football League since February 2009. That's a long time.
Okay. Yeah. And that's the thing, isn't it? We don't look like winning a couple of games in a row at the minute. We don't really look like winning the game when we're in it, if you know what I mean. Even though we're playing okay at 0-0, like I guess I wasn't thinking. I just kind of wasn't surprised when out of nowhere we'll make a sudden really daft mistake and we're 1-0 behind. And then my mate who I went with, Joe, said there was. Do you know what? He went off for a piss at that point. He said we'll be 2-0 down by half time. And I thought, come on, how do you know that, Joe? Sure enough, before he comes back, we're 2-0 down. So, yeah.
You look at the things that kind of make up winning a game. That it's not. It's easy to say, well, we're better, and you just win 3-0. Of course, that wins you the game. But how do you do that? And it's all the little individual elements and the little battles across the pitch and winning. Not individual tackles, but just having dominance, like lots of little bit pockets of dominance across the game, and winning, and that adds up to winning a game. And then you do that repeatedly, and that adds up to winning over a series of games. And you do that enough, you end up winning a league or promotion or whatever. We're not even at that kind of tiny micro level. We're not doing that. We're not winning individual battles. We're getting bullied off the ball. We're losing our composure, which means we're kind of losing out in terms of making the correct decisions, and all of that kind of stuff leads up to us then not winning games and losing games. And when we come up against, we're by far the worst team in the division, or even the bottom 3 or 4. You look at some of the fodder that we've played so far, like Colchester and like Wimbledon were particularly bad. Harrogate, I know we drew with Harrogate, but I thought they were awful. I think we're better than them, but we're nowhere near like the performances we've seen of Grimsby or even the first half of Barrow. It seems a long, long way away. And I think until we start getting those small wins, which add up to winning a game of football, that we can't expect to get any better because there's so many things going wrong of our own doing. So some of it's out of our control, but there's many things in our control which we're not taking control of.
Mm-hmm. I went and watched back some of the games from like the run-in towards the end of last season, and it just looks like a completely different team. Everything, all the little things that we were doing right, we've just forgotten every single one of them. I think Bradford was the rare shining light this season, where we looked much more like that team last season, but couldn't do it for 90 minutes. Still got the win, but we couldn't play with that intensity for 90 minutes as we did last season. And it's just as the weeks go by, we seem to be not getting any closer to it as well. That's was chastening. I think that's going to be the word of the evening now. Yeah, that's the most chastening thing I think for me, is that we just seem to be getting further away from it. You thought Bradford was the turning point. So well, if anything's going to be the turning point, it's this. And
but go back to 2007-08. If you remember, we played Staines on the Thursday night. We lost. Then we went to Bradford. We got David Poole's last-minute equaliser, and everyone came out of that ground bouncing. That's it, right? That's the turning point. And then the next game after that, we went and lost at home to a team from Lincolnshire 3-1. Lincoln on a Tuesday night. The following game, we went and beat Wickham 6-0, and then we didn't look back. So as long as you beat Salford 6-0 on Saturday, I believe things are going to happen. And we were 17th in the league after Bradford, and I've not got the league table up in front of us. I'll get it up in front of us. I bet we're not far off 17th now, so maybe there's some parallels with that season.
Let's have a look. We're 16th now. Yeah,
that means we'll finish third because we finished fourth in 07-08. Went up in the playoffs. We're a better position, better off now. Means we'll finish third, automatic promotion. There we go.
Take that. I'll do for me.
I'm loving the optimism, Ben. I mean, first of all, you enjoyed Saturday afternoon, which I must admit is more than I managed, and also we're going to finish fourth. I'm loving the optimism.
I'm quite impressed with that connection that put together like the Lincolnshire 3-1s. I only just kind of thought of that on the spot.
It's good.
Let's do it. Let's take it. Let's third spot.
Whatever we're going to.
I'm going to be telling everyone that until Saturday now. That's going to be it. I'll still be holding on to that at 10-5 when the.
Who's going to be the Adam Proudlock? Who's going to get the Adam Proudlock hat trick and one from just inside our own half? Who've we got who can do that? Who's the maverick?
See, that's the thing. Sarcevic for me. But in terms of build, he might be the closest to Adam Proudlock. I think he's quite a stocky lad, isn't he?
Yeah, you put two with him, you might get close to Proudlock.
Yeah. Logan's goalkeeper top.
Yeah.
So one of my well, in fact, I'll tell you about the two things that are infuriating me the most about football at the moment. One is artificial limbs, and I don't mean people who've had a limb amputated, like wearing the prosthetics. They go, that's fine, like inclusivity for all. But these people celebrating goals and specifically trying to get on the Footy Limbs Twitter account.
Yeah.
It's just
as in the crowd, limbs in the crowd.
As in actually, like actively like jumping on each other, but not as like. I mean, the ultimate in limbs. I'm sure you'll agree with me, Ben. Is Bradford Park Avenue away?
Yeah, unless you're rolling down a hill or being wheeled around in a wheelbarrow, I'm not interested. It's an extension of that, Nick. Like, I don't watch these things, but you go on YouTube and you see like these, these flipping fan video things, and it's like carnage and limbs and scenes, and it's like Colchester at home when Kyle Wotton scored. It's like stood up.
Yeah. Pyros as the other, wasn't it? Pyros.
I didn't even look up from like the cup of tea. Like, I don't think that was carnage and limbs, was it? West Ham against Bolton last season, legitimate falling over, ending up 6 rows from where you started. And you can have that. The third game of the season at home in August. Like a 1-0? No. Stop it. Grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
And it has to be genuine, doesn't it? It's like we can all tell the difference between genuine limbs and limbs that are for the cameras. You know, that's
yeah.
that's not wrong, is it?
In fact, this whole thing of like people throwing beer in the air, just when you see them at the fan parks for the World Cup, and it's like £7 a pint, mate, and you've just thrown it in the air.
Again, it's the context and the situation you're in. If it's again an Ash Palmer goal, throw it, get a beer pump up in the air and throw that around. But like you see at the England games, it's like Harry Kane scores after 20 minutes in the opening game of the group against Tunisia or something. And it's like people like making a show of themselves. I'm too old for it all, but come on. It's not
the only time that was acceptable.
It's not that important. It's just manufactured nonsense.
World Cup '98, I was watching England versus Colombia with mum and dad. We're having a lovely little Indian for our tea. And I swear to God, when Beckham's free kick went in, I threw an onion bhaji at my mum. Because I just couldn't handle this raw emotion that David Beckham had brought into our living room. And just the bhaji just went off the floor. No! Yeah, and I won't be doing that again in a hurry. No. So when I see him throwing a pint, I'm just like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? This was part of an overarching point, but I forgot what the other thing was that annoys me at football matches.
Two things. It'll come back.
There's two things, but I've become so annoyed. But, oh, yes, I've remembered what it was now. It was in reference to the sending off. A player getting a clear red card and getting applauded off by the home fans is one of the worst things you can see at a football match now.
Absolutely.
How clear a red was it? And it's just, well done, mate, well done. Yeah, I don't understand that.
Do you know what I'm going to admit? Go on,
sorry, go on, Jody.
Well, I was going to say, I'm going to admit, and this is me just being ridiculously partisan, you know, as we all are, but when I saw the challenge in real time, I thought, I've taken the ball there. Wasn't that much of a bad challenge. I thought, maybe it's a yellow. That's what I thought when I saw it in real time. I'm going to be honest with this. But then when I saw it on Twitter, I was like, oh, of course that's a sending off. And of course I can see what the referee see, you know. But yeah, I didn't applaud him off because I just think that is like, that's beyond the pale, really, isn't it? The guy's been sent off. And even if you don't agree with the decision, I think it's wrong. He's still done a disservice to the team by giving the referee that decision to make. You know, it just looks.
Only exception to this is, do you remember United played Newcastle at home in the late 90s? Rob Lee was clear through. I think whoever the keeper had gone up to the corner, and he was clear through, and he was about to score into an open goal, and Solskjaer hacked him down.
On the halfway line, was it? I think
the whole ground stood up and applauded him because it was the right thing to do. It stopped a clear goal before it got to the penalty area. Yeah, United, I don't think they went on to score from the free kick, so that was the right thing to do. But that's the only exception. But my other question I was going to ask about applauding, one that gets me: people applauding the attendance when Ken reads it out. What are you clapping? Why? Why are you clapping for it?
That's a good attendance, that is. That's a good attendance.
You're applauding yourself coming along. You're applauding the person next to you. Yeah. Leave it. Come on.
What would it take not to applaud? Like, is there going to be attendance that says, "Boo, attendance"?
Like last night, was the booze because there was only 1,000 there.
Yeah. Well, no, maybe people are just applauding because Ken delivered it so masterfully. Do you ever think of that? That'd be a reason for me to applaud it. Oh, well read. That was very well read. That was well done, Ken. Yeah.
The Ken flag is making its comeback on Saturday actually at Salford. The Ken Boxall Ultras flag. It's been lots. I think it's been on Ken's bedroom wall for the last couple of years because it was taken down. It was up in the Cheadle end in lockdown and then it went missing. But Ken's had it, so I've got it back off him, and it's going to Salford on Saturday. So look out for it.
That's fantastic. I think we should applaud everything that Ken says, all of these trademarks. I think we should applaud when he says, just a reminder that there's no smoking in the ground, and that includes e-cigarettes. And I think everybody should applaud at that point. Yeah. Exactly
that.
And you can almost read Ken's disdain at having to read out the additional sponsors for stuff as well now. There's no smoking announcement is sponsored by not fags, that type of thing. You can tell he's just like, oh, I'm old school, mate.
Exactly. Yeah, because we have today's Man of the Match award is sponsored by, say, NK Electrical, and today's match sponsors, who are the Scarf Bagara War, they have chosen as their Man of the Match for Stockport County number 3, Mark Kitching, haven't they? Yeah,
and it confusingly he gets a bottle of Stockport gin.
Yeah, we can't really give him like a run of like electrical tape or something over
Yeah.
sponsoring, can you?
Give him some money off his electric bill, I suppose. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
What's
a real prize.
Just a segue to Mark Kitchen. I bought some shorts off his sister on Vinted this week. Turns out it's Mark Kitchen's sister.
Oh, right.
Niche content.
What
How
type
did you
of
find
stuff
out
on
that
there?
she was the sister of a League Two footballer during your transaction?
Say again.
How did you find out she was a sister of a League Two footballer during your transaction?
I can't give away my secrets.
Does anyone, the Grimsby fans, I thought it was very nice to see some away fans enjoying the day, having been newly promoted. Someone fucking well should. But also, they're travelling very well these days, aren't they?
Yeah.
They
I
are.
think
They've
I
sold
remember
out,
when they came last
sold
year as
out
well.
every away game, haven't they? They've been to.
Yeah.
Although they weren't sold out the other day. They might have sold all the tickets, but I don't think their end looked particularly full.
No,
Yeah,
there's
it
definite
completely
gaps there.
But
Yeah,
even
but
still, they're having more fun than we are. So good luck to them.
Yeah. I remember last year they came in midweek, didn't they, fairly early on? And
Under Steve,
was
wasn't it?
plenty with them. What plenty with them. And even we played them in the FA Trophy before Christmas. Like, worst possible, the Saturday just before, the Christmas shopping day, wasn't it? You know what I mean? And they had a few that day, so fair play to them. I was thinking they're kind of like County in that way. You know how we take, like, habitually a quarter of our home crowd wherever we go? You know, they seem to have that tradition.
I don't know what they're like when they drop off, because they're obviously on a bit of a high from last season and this season carried it on. You know, and we do take very good numbers, but we also drop off quite dramatically when it's not going quite as well. Like, look at Halifax. This is what I always go back to. Halifax last season, the early part of the season, just after we played Grimsby. It was the first away game for many people since we'd played Halifax New Year's Day 2020 because of COVID. And at the end of the 1920 season, we played like Ebbsfleet and Woking and Dagenham, which aren't the kind of really accessible grounds. And we had the COVID season, and then the start of 2021, I think we'd had Southend and Boreham Wood. So Halifax was one, but because we were so bad, and you think we've got it bad now, Jesus, this is like just to coin the podcast phrase, 1970s Brazil. The team we've got now compared to Rusk's shit show from last season. But we took about 800 to Halifax, when in reality you'd think at the end of last season, when we were going for the title, we could have taken 4,000 there.
Oh, yeah.
So I do think the numbers do drop off quite a bit, but that's probably the same for any club, isn't it?
Yeah, and Halifax was like, it is worthwhile thinking back to how low we were then, wasn't it, for that Halifax game?
Oh yeah, and the thing is, though, like, I remember that game and Notts County, but particularly Halifax. It was nasty at the end of the game. It wasn't like we just weren't very good today. There was proper anger and like fans like beckoning the players over, not to like attack them or anything, but just to let them know how bad and like it was so bad. If you go back and watch those highlights from the 3-0 at Halifax last season, it is laughable how poor we were. They're defending for their goals. And that's why, we're not as good as we hoped we were this season. But you think Challoner turned round that bin fire into, the promotion machine, then he deserves a bit of slack, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Do we think he needs to do something different this year than what he did last year to turn it around? As in, last year, I feel like what he did was he got with a settled team, got with playing with an intensity, and it worked. I don't know. Does he need to do the same thing again? Because one thing I think is we chop and change the team quite a lot. I know there was only one change on Saturday with left back, wasn't it? But up until this point, I just do feel that I sometimes wonder whether we've got so many players, whether it's like an embarrassment of riches for the manager.
Yeah,
one game they're making 3 changes, they're making 4 changes, they're changing the formation, all of that.
This is one of the things which I'm debating, you could say, on the board, is that loads of people saying, we need to go and buy another left centre-back. We need to go buy a left back or a left centre-back. And I agree, we absolutely need to go and buy something up front because, it's not happening at the moment. We're not, Paddy's hopefully hit a bit of form. He's got 3 and 4 or 3 and 3. But we don't really have any options if Wotton or Madden goes off injured because Crankshaw, he's not an out-and-out striker. Jennings looks bit far off it at the moment. But you look at people say we need to buy a left back. I think I worked it out. In the last kind of year or so, we've had something like 15 centre halves or left-sided defenders at the club. Since deadline day, we've signed 2 in Hussey and Donald. We've still got Rydell, Kitching, Palmer, Johnson, Horsfall, who I'm not saying they're left backs, but they can play at the centre back. We've got Johnson still. And I don't like this attitude and this kind of way of thinking that let's just go and buy our way out of trouble. Hang on, no, let's not. We've spent a lot of money over the last year, 18 months, even the last 6 months. We're not in, all right, there's people like Barkley, but we've given Palmer a contract extension. We've signed Ryan Johnson. We've got Rydell. We've got Hussey. We've got McDonald. Make it work. We can't just go out and go to Mark Start and be like, oh, Daddy, can we have some more money? Like some spoiled child. We've signed these players because we think we're good enough. So make it work. And if it doesn't work, then people need to be accountable for that. We can't just keep going out spending our way out of a problem. That's not how it works, and it shouldn't be how it works.
And for all the talk of us needing to spend in January, the people calling for that, are they just expecting us to just bumble along as we are doing until then? Just chopping and changing every week until we get some new signings and chop and change every week with them?
Exactly. We've got more. You look at I couldn't even name the staff we've got, but we've got Challoner and Hill as the kind of the 2 front men, but we've got all the analysts and coaches and specialised kind of positional coaches as well that probably clubs in the Championship would be envious of. We've got training facilities, we're told, are Championship standard. So, yeah, get coaching, get making those players that we have researched and paid, deemed to be good enough to take us on this journey, which is a phrase I hate using, but deemed to be good enough to take us somewhere. Get coaching them and get the best out of them. We absolutely, for me, just cannot go to January and with an open checkbook and just go and pay over the odds again for more players to rectify a problem that's of our own making. It's not
absolutely, and it doesn't. It's that would be just doing what we're doing already, and it's not working. We've got so many coaches. It reminds me of the old Two Ronnies joke in the news segment. The rumours that the cabinet was becoming overstaffed with unnecessary appointments were today denied by the minister for steak and kidney pudding. And we've got that many coaches and then that many players. I mean, the list that you read off there. In a way, I guess I'm kind of reconciled to the idea of buying our way to promotion, if that means, buying 7-8 players and it's mostly a new first team for the new season. I kind of get that. But if what it means is buying 7 or 8 left-sided defenders among a squad of like 35, and then still not thinking you've got enough players, and that's kind of where we are. That's not even much of an exaggeration. And if we talk about left backs in particular, like the one change we did make on Saturday from Bradford to Grimsby, like I didn't understand that because I thought, is it Cartwright? I kept thinking his name's Cartwright. Not Cartwright, is it? McDonald.
McDonald, yeah.
Nearly.
That proves the point. I can't remember the name of the Stockport County footballers anymore. But I thought that McDonald, who came in at left back at Bradford, did a fantastic job. Looked like he'd been there forever. And then the one change we'll make is to bring in Hussey, who, okay, he's also a left-sided defender, but why does he replace the guy who did so well last time?
The only thing I can think of is maybe he's that McDonald struggling for match fitness. He's not played this season, but even they know better than we do. But why not start him and bring Hussey on after an hour or something? But just to go back to the defenders that we've had at the club in the last 18 months: Palmer, Horsfall, Hogan, Maynard, Keane, Stott, Pye, Rydell, Barkley, Lewis, Johnson, Kitching, Hussey, McDonald. And then that's just the ones on the left in the centre. Then you've got Minahan, Brown, South Hales, and now Collar, who's playing at right back. We don't need to sign any more defenders.
And Newby,
of course.
Right back as well.
He must have played at back as well at some point. He's played everywhere else, hasn't he?
Who's that, Newby?
Hippolyte.
Yeah.
Oh, Hippolyte, he has played.
Yeah, he's played as a wing back. He played as a wing back quite often last season as well when Rydell was out. Yeah.
I'm not saying that like Lewis Maynard was like the left back of our dreams. That I'm not saying that, but we've had enough players come and go that we don't need to be. We certainly shouldn't need to be going out to spend yet more money. And like I say, I don't like this kind of way of thinking that seems to be everywhere now. That if we've got a problem, it's on trying to actually fix it. Let's just go and spend some more money, and then we can't fail. It's not for me.
And I don't want to sound like I'm just stating the obvious, but like if we do think about when we've been really good, the promotion seasons, the 2 promotion seasons, what had us out of defence, So it does work, and the fact that the recruitment clearly cannot be ideal is also, I think, kind of shown by, for all of these 35 players, whenever we bring Ashley Palmer back, he's like one of our best defenders. He fits in. You know what I mean? So that's not a criticism of Ash Palmer from me. It's just saying that we're clearly on upgrading things so much that the centre back we had 2 seasons ago. You know what I mean? It's like not in contention. You know what I mean? So it's just strange, isn't it? It's just strange.
Very strange. And talking of changes to the 11, that's probably as good a time as any to move on to last night's ultimate dead rubber. I think I didn't go. I watched the stream. Ben, did you go?
No, wouldn't go to. It wouldn't even go for it at Wembley in that competition. No.
Yeah,
it's
same.
Pointless. Yeah, not interested. Genuinely not interested at all.
Yeah, same. I mean, it wasn't until 5 minutes before kickoff that I realised there was a stream, and I sod all else to do. It was just your standard. I don't think too much can be read into it, because Shrewsbury made a lot of changes, played a new system they'd not previously played. We looked dominant for the whole 90 minutes, but without. I mean, we should have scored 5 or 6 really. So there's still a fair bit of worry stemming from it that we still couldn't put a few more away, which is just becoming more worrying week on week. Someone said in the comments earlier, we're only going to be scoring 1 each week. So for us to keep teams out twice after that, John Billsbury, we haven't got more than 1 goal in us, so we're in trouble as soon as the first went in. And that's the case. There was even a sense, no matter how dominant we were when I was watching last night, there was just a sense of, they'll 1 chance to score. That's all they're going to need. And we had, was it a sub 1,000 crowd, or was it just over 1,000?
Just over 1,000, yeah.
Just over 1,000.
Yeah. Which, to be, I think it's quite good. I thought there was going to be less than that. I think the lowest we've ever had was about 830 against Barrow, and then we had 880 against Kidderminster in 2018. I thought we'd get less than that, but good effort to those who went.
Yeah, it was kids for a quid, wasn't it? I saw that.
Yes, yeah. Weirdly, it was more expensive to stream it than it was to buy a ticket to actually go.
Yeah,
which is a bit of an odd one. But we did see a fair few changes. And I'd say of the changes we did see, I thought Newby and Evans again were head and shoulders above everyone else when they've got a chance. And Crowsdale again, with the defence does. There's still a lot of work to be done on the defence, but it looks so much steadier with Crowsdale in front of him. And
he's integral to the team, Crowsdale.
Yeah.
And again, we don't see it day in, day out with the training ground, so we don't know what goes on. So you trust the manager, but we're better with him than without him. I don't think there's any debate about that. Whether he's not playing the role he's asked to play, or he's not trusted, or he's not fit enough, or whatever, I don't know. But we're better with him than without him. And on Lemonade Evans, or it's not Lemonade Evans, just Evans now, isn't it? I think, what was the last home game we had before? It was Walsall, I think. I don't know, we ended up conceding that last minute goal, but he looked really, really good in that. He kind of took the game and owned it, and I'd like to see more of him. And to be honest, I know that Sarcevic last season was, he was outstanding. He's one of the best players in the division. I don't see what he's how he's warranted a starting place. I know he's been a few on the bench, but I don't really see it an awful lot this season. He got a couple of goals early on, but he's looked way off it compared to, again, as everyone else though, to be honest, compared to the standards of last season. But I think when Evans has come in the team, he's looked more than justified to be keeping his place in the team.
Yeah, I just hope it's not another. Is it 3 weeks to the FA Cup game against Swindon, which, based on when he's played previously this season, that's when we'll be waiting. That's when we're next going to see Connor Evans, because he seems to
put in a decent performance, and we don't see him again for 3 or 4 weeks. So
Yeah,
I really hope it becomes the
we've
start of a run now.
We've got Salford Saturday, Carlisle Tuesday, Sutton Saturday, and then Swindon. All the S's.
I feel like Evans is a player who, I think maybe a lot of players do better when they're regularly in the team. But one thing I've noticed about Evans is it was when Challoner was in one of the pre-match interviews recently. I forget which one it was, but basically what he said was, he's a confidence player. He's a player who, once he settles in, he'll start to show us what he showed us at Torquay, and he'll be running at players, and he'll be going past them, and he'll be making things happen in the final third and all that. And I suppose I think if that's your kind of makeup as a player, or just that's where you are in terms of how you're settling into the club, it can't be that easy. Just get one game every 3 or 4 in that case. I almost feel like if you're going to play him. Give him a run. Give him a run in the team. Yeah. And especially if you've got maybe Sarcevic, who is a bit off it. Maybe he's in the team a little bit on the back of what he's produced before rather than what he's producing now, right?
Yeah, well, he might get, now with camps out for 3 games, he might get that opportunity because, like I say, I don't think he's done anything that warrants not being included. Whenever he's come on, he's looked really good, and it's a shame that I think you bang on that it's difficult for him to really make much impact because he gets a game and then he comes on and then he's not starting the next game, and it's very stop-start for him. And we've seen with players in the past that you give them that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games to kind of really bed in, make that position their own, and get that relationship with players and get a bit of confidence in the crowd, and they never look back.
Absolutely. So I'd also put him down to be if I was gonna be a betting man, I'd put him down as our least likely midfielder to get sent off in any given 90 minutes. I don't see him suddenly diving in for a 20-80 ball and taking somebody out of the knees anytime soon.
No. I think he's a class act. From what we saw, I didn't watch the National League religiously, but from what we saw of him, particularly in the COVID season, and the glimpses I've seen of him this year, he's by far and away, like even above camps, kind of that midfield, a bit of something special about him, which nobody else is displaying. Croasdale's a totally different player. He's a
Croasdale's not going to scare the hell out of you. I seem to remember that Lemon Heaven scared the hell out of us playing for Torquay in the COVID season. He got the ball, you're like, oh hell, same. He's going to skin with. So he's got it, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'd like to see a lot more of him. Hopefully he'll start on Saturday.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Dave, get him in the 11.
Yeah, come on, get it sorted. And I might actually get a free pint on FanHub because last week everyone thought they got 11 out of 11. Then we got the Hussey curveball. I think he's just doing it deliberately now, just to make me have to pay for pints. Fucking disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Before we go, quick word on the FA Cup draw. Obviously, I think you're the kind of same school of thought as me, Ben. You prefer lowest possible team at home.
At this stage, there is every year I have this, and every day I want to put my face in an oven and kind of read it. Like, you see people like, oh, let's get Ipswich away.
Yeah.
Why?
Just like a big League One team. I suppose if you got Sunderland or Sheffield Wednesday when Sunderland were in League One, then. Or you got like one of these big fallen giants like Leeds or Forest when they were in League One, and then you can maybe justify that. But just whoever's top of League One, let's get them because it's the biggest possible tie. That's not, because they'll batter us. There's no glamour, there's no coverage, and we're just gone out, humiliated, like 3-0, game over. FA Cup never happened this year. Whereas, you just get through to round 3, and then. Yeah, why would you jeopardise the chance of playing Liverpool or United or Arsenal or Chelsea or someone for the sake of playing a team who we routinely played in the league within living memory? Just bonkers. So it's a shame we've not got Alvechurch at home or Chippenham or Hendon or someone. But we were pretty spoilt with minnows in the trophy last year with Cheshunt and Larkhall and everyone. So. Need a market. So Swindon is anyone in your own league's rubbish. Swindon is as kind of boring and as it gets, but at least it's at home. We might win. We won't. We'll draw and lose the replay.
The only thing more uninspiring than Swindon at home is surely Swindon away.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
the ultimate kind of please don't be them is always Gillingham away, isn't it? Gillingham and Plymouth away are always the like your heart skips a beat when they're drawn out and you're still in the back. You're like, no. So, but yeah, I think if they're the kind of the kings of please not us, Gillingham and Plymouth, then Swindon are certainly the next level down.
Yeah, I want the kind of fodder that we got in the FA. I want the type of teams where it sounds like a referee had come from that village. You know, that kind of place. Yeah.
Yate Town.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Tring. Harrow.
Tring. Yeah.
There's football team towns and referee towns. Towns that would have been on It's a Knockout back in the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, we've had that in the league, haven't we, in recent years?
Yeah.
Like a lot of the teams that we used to play in the dog leagues, you kind of think. I always remember saying, 10 years ago, this would have been a brilliant away day in the cup. Going to somewhere like, well, not Brackley, but somewhere like Harrogate or Fylde or Southport or something. They were the kind of FA Cup first round games we were like, go on, let's get someone like that. But when you've been going there for 6 seasons and routinely losing to them, it takes the shine off a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. When you've been to Bradford Park Avenue and been carried around the pitch in a wheelbarrow, it's like you've done everything you can in these places, haven't you? You know what I mean?
Bradford Park, take us back. Bradford Park Avenue, FA Cup. Yeah.
That would genuine limbs on the grassy mound.
Yeah, about rolling down the hill over the scoreboard. Yeah, I like that. The classic Josh Amos when he bundled it in 2017, and I love that clip. So he, like barrels over to the away fans, doesn't he? County fans jump over, and a steward literally runs away. You see him, just gets out, and you see him running off.
Yeah. Talking about stewards, just a moment from the game on Saturday, which is literally just coming to my head. You know how we have like 400 stewards now at Esley Park, and there was a moment, and I think it was the second half because County were kicking towards the Cheadle end, and their goalkeeper's taking a bit of time about taking a goal kick.
Yeah.
And a little scally from the first few rows of the Cheadle end literally walks up and harangues him for about 2.5 minutes, which first of all doesn't make him take his kick any quicker, and it sounds like, where are the stewards? Like, he was having a full-on debate with their goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper's quite happy to join in. We
haven't got the war squad anymore, have we? Hashtag
no,
war.
We've got the peace squad. That's what we've got. It's very much non-confrontational now.
Someone at the I don't know, whoever in charge, Simpkin or whoever's in charge of that, has put the foot down and got rid of them because there was moments last year when that was horrible, and it was inevitable at some point there would have been a flashpoint. I think credit to the club for acting on that because they were embarrassment. Although I've noticed one of them, your man with the face tattoos, he's one of the bouncers at the local bars in Sale now. So I walk past him quite a lot of the weekends.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. I bet that's the type of establishment I should be going in.
Oh yeah. Fancy a bit of war and current and ex-professional fighters on your door. Let's get on down to M33.
He's got some gainful employment anyway, the guy. That's good to know.
Yeah, at least he's not like ended up in the Dole office off the back of losing his prime role at the Northwest Premier Football Club. Could be worse, couldn't it? Oh, that's about all we've got time for. We've hit that hour mark absolutely perfectly. Normally, I'll look and we'll be like an hour and 20 in, and I'm like, oh shit. Is there anything that's not been said about the FA Cup? Is this going to be the year where we get one of our near neighbours finally? It's coming.
I hope we don't. I mean, I sincerely hope we don't get City because they'd wipe the floor with us. They'd put out a really strong team. They wiped the floor with like top 6 Premier League teams.
Mm-hmm.
And you always kind of think when you get a draw like that, you expect to lose, and you kind of think, well, if we just get one goal, you get one meaningful goal. That's the thing. It's got to be a meaningful goal where you either take the lead or you equalise, and you go.
Look at you, Chesterfield.
You go, not when you're 5-0 down. One meaningful goal, and so you can go like David Poole at Watford. That's what you want when you go to Premier League team. But with City, I think they'd be out of sight after about 15 minutes. Like, you can almost see them playing Haaland just for a laugh. Yeah, and I think United, I wouldn't expect us to get a result or even get close to a result, but there would be that tiny little glimmer that if they had a really, really bad day, we played out of our skins, we might keep it tight for an hour. We might get a meaningful goal, but City, keep us apart because they would wipe the floor with us, and it'd just be horrible playing them again.
Never the end of it either, would you?
No, we don't want City what's the word? When you get rid of a ghost. You don't want City kind of overcoming that thing we got on their back, the monkey on the back of what happened the last 2 or 3 times, right? We need that to be there. Last
time we played City, John Ardiker scored 2 goals in the 88th and 90th minute to win the game. Let's keep that as the abiding memory of Stockport County, because as much as we don't matter to them, as they always say, that if that sort of last interaction with them, then it's quite nice, isn't it?
It's going to just need them a little bit, isn't it?
It's like bumping into your ex and she's like doing really well for herself. You don't want that, do you?
Don't want that. No.
Not after the last time anyway. It was really, really awkward. Right, chaps, cheers for joining me. It's much appreciated as ever.
Can I do a really quick kind of anti-plug of my?
You can indeed. You can indeed. Do your...
What I mean by this is that just for anybody who might sometimes listen to me radio show on Saturday mornings when we're away, I'm not on this Saturday morning when we're away because I'm away in Scotland visiting young Frankie. My son is at university there, but intending to get a show on before the next away game for one of the home ones. So just watch out for that.
Maybe someone should start doing an away day show for your away days, and just cover you on the journey. Just with all that big trip build up.
Stop at a commentary of it.
Live commentary on Jonathan going to get yourself a carrot Carlsberg on the buffet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It can't be any worse than some of the shit we've talked on here for the last hour. So it's just things and roundabouts, isn't it? Right, folks. Cheers for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that seemingly important stuff. Russ will be back next week with myself and a guest as yet unannounced. He's probably told me who it is, but I've forgotten. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Cheers, folks. Ta-ra.